Just to give you a little bit of a sense around what this program is about, is that this MA program has been running for over 15 years now. So we have quite a long history of engaging in issues that relate to gender, globalization, as well as human rights. And that does make this program a little bit different than other kinds of gender studies programs that might exist at other universities. So this program is located in the School of Political Science and Sociology. Lecturers who work on this program come from backgrounds including history, economics, sociology, political studies, communications, journalism, and so on. So it is very diverse and it is cross-disciplinary in its nature. But the focus of it is very much in understanding what are the gendered and human rights dimensions of the kinds of globalization and global issues that we see in the world today. So in order to prepare our students to be able to go out into the world to work with non-governmental organizations, with governmental organizations, in academia, in research, and so forth, is that we aim to develop a range of different kinds of skills and tools that are needed. And so this includes theoretical, conceptual, and practical tools that are needed to apply a gender perspective and undertake gender analysis at local, national, and international levels. Part of the way that we teach and our focus is around a commitment to community learning and research. So we really do aim to support learners who are passionate about building knowledge and skills in partnership with very diverse communities in order to foster positive change and advance gender equality and human rights for all. Now, in terms of the requirements for this MA program, you do need a primary degree of a level 8 or equivalent with a second class honors grade 1 or a B grade. We also ask that applicants include a writing sample and a letter of interest that details why it is that they would like to study in this program. Now, with the writing sample, it doesn't matter what the subject is that you're writing on. So students and prospective applicants will often ask us, does it need to be on a gendered issue? And we'd always say, no, it doesn't. That the purpose of the writing sample is for us to be able to assess your academic writing skills. So what we're really looking for is the way that your writing flows, that there is some logic in your argument, and that you have effectively used a referencing system. With the letter of interest, that's your opportunity to tell us about why it is that you are interested in this program, what value you think it might have for you, and what you hope to gain from it. If you're interested in applying and don't quite make the criteria in terms of the primary degree, you can talk to us. So you can email myself and ask about whether there are alternatives, because there are options whereby you have additional experience outside of the university program that we can take into consideration when evaluating your application as well. Now, we offer several modes of study for this MA. So the full-time MA program takes place over 12 months. You take 2 semesters of taught modules, so running from September to December, and then from January through to the end of March or beginning of April. You then, over the next few months, undertake a research paper. And if you choose to, you may also be taking experiential modules, such as a field trip or doing a professional placement. There is also a part-time option. And so in that case, you do 2 years instead of 12 months. And you will do in your first year, September through to April. And then in the second year, September through to the following September, as you will also be doing a research paper in the last part of your 2-year program. There is also a postgraduate diploma option. And in this case, you'd only take the taught components of the program rather than doing the research paper. So just to give you a bit of a sense around the program structure. So people doing this MA program will have a certain number of core modules that you have to take. And those core modules are really foundational for your ability to apply your learning to other kinds of focused subjects. So core modules for this MA program include feminist and gender theorizing, gender perspectives on globalization, and gender, women, and human rights. In addition to that, you'll also undertake 2 core modules in research methods. And so that includes research methods and methodologies, as well as the dissertation workshops, where you develop your real skills in writing in preparation for your research paper. Outside of those core modules, you have a range of option modules that you can take. So if you have, for instance, an interest in health, we have a module on gender, sexuality, and global health. If you have an interest in conflict and peace, there's one on women, conflict, and human security. There is development and human rights. There is the social and political aspects of advocacy work, and so forth. So there's a range of different options that you can take to be able to tailor the program to your particular interests. In addition to that, we also have experiential learning modules. So these include a field-based module where you travel in this year and in the previous year to Brussels in order to visit the European Parliament, talk to MPs, engage in networking events, and so forth. And that usually takes place over 3 days in April. And you also have an option of doing a work placement. So this is a professional placement working either with an organization, with a research project, or potentially working on the journal that we run out of our department. There is also a summer school option focused on sustainability that you have that you can choose to take as one of your option modules. And then finally, as we mentioned, you have your independent research paper. So this is a 10,000 word research paper. You work with a supervisor who gives you support and direction in terms of developing this. And that's your final piece of your assessment. Now, we do have many different kinds of assessment, recognizing that there are many different styles of learning. One thing you might be glad to know about is that we don't have exams in this program at all. So everything is based on continuous assessment. Now, because we want you to develop a range of different kinds of skills that are useful in different kinds of working and researching contexts, we use different forms of assessment. So like in all MA programs, we do use essays, but we also do things like academic posters. And so you can see this poster here on Putin's Russia, which was a poster developed by Damien Le Goff, one of our students a couple of years ago. We do a formal debate in the feminist and gender theorizing module. And you can see here, the picture there to the side is our student Isabel engaging in the debate along with the rest of her team who are seated in their chairs. Some modules use learning journals. In some, we do reports, we do presentations, and more. And again, it's all about giving you a range of different kinds of experiences that you can draw from as you move forward in the rest of your working life. So the field trip, this is an image from our field trip last year. 3 days were spent in Brussels, and activities included a tour of the European Parliament. There was a meeting with MEPs, a networking event with Brussels-based professionals. There were policy-focused sessions and a visit to the European External Actions Service. So it's getting a chance to see the way in which gender and politics works in practice. Professional placements. So in the current year, we have students who are based at the Galway Rape Crisis Centre, the Art Family Resource Centre, belong to LGBTQ Network, Equal Ireland, which is an educational institute offering 2nd and 3rd level programs, Talamh Bio, which is an agricultural network. And we also have a student who's working as an editorial assistant on our journal, JERCA, Graduate Journal, Gender, Globalisation and Rights, and a student who is a research assistant on the GBV MIG project. And you can see that there to the side. So these placements run for 6 weeks between April and May on a half-time basis. In some occasions, students do start them earlier or end them later, depending on the needs of the organization or the project. But in each of these cases, whether you go through the research stream, the editorial assistant stream, or the organization stream, you get real hands-on experience. You get a chance to work with others, to develop new ideas, to engage in communications, and so on. So it is something that our students always report back to us that is a really important part of their program. That said, it is an option, which means that for some students who might come to us already with significant experience in the world of work, they might decide not to take the placement and instead take the additional top modules instead, the summer school instead, a field trip instead. So you're given lots of different options depending on what your own interests are. Now, just to go over some of the particular features and opportunities of the MA in Gender, Globalization and Rights. I mean, one thing that we would note is that we have a highly diverse student body. So we have had students from over 5 different continents, and all of whom contribute to the collaborative learning environment. So we would see that diversity is a huge strength in that we have students from different cultural backgrounds, different countries, different ages, different religions, and all bring that knowledge and experience into the classroom. And because so much of what we do, the way that we learn, is based on discussion, having that kind of diversity present is really beneficial to everybody that's involved. Lecturers in this MA are global leaders in the fields of gender-based violence, of Irish women's history, and so on. So you're getting taught by people who have significant experience and who can lead you and guide you through your learning in order to advance it to the greatest extent possible. Our students have gone on to careers in a number of different areas, and actually we'll come to that in a later slide as well. So we'll just hold that for the minute. But to understand that being able to acquire those kinds of jobs is really based on the skills that are developed within this MA program. And that includes written and oral communication skills, practical skills in gender analysis, publication skills, and so forth. And we would note that this program also attracts a high number of scholarship holders, and that includes every year a number of Irish Aid or ICOS scholars, as well as students who have been awarded the Mitchell Scholarship, Bright Scholarship, and the University of Sanctuary Scholarship. So in terms of graduate prospects, one thing that we have seen is that there are very strong employment prospects for students who graduate from this MA program. So even just looking at our students from 2023, as you can see, these are some of them at their graduation day here in the picture. Those students who graduated in 2023 moved very quickly into jobs. And so that includes organizations working in areas of advocacy, research, communications, and so forth. So just from that cohort themselves, we see that our students have taken up jobs with Galway City Partnership, with COPE Galway, working in the domestic violence services, with GOSH, which is the Gender Orientation, Sexual Health and HIV Network, the Men's Development Network, as well as research assistant positions, both at the University of Galway and the University of Maynooth, and many more. I mean, these are just a quick overview of the current crop of students. More broadly, we see that our students move on towards roles that are often roles of considerable responsibility and importance. So a survey of our students from 2018 to 2021 showed that those students had taken up jobs such as the senior coordinator at the Clinton Health Access Initiative, policy officer at Women's Aid, lecturer and researcher at University of Vienna, principal gender development officer at Government of Malawi, operations coordinator at Community Policy Institute, education coordinator at the Galway Crisis Centre, and so forth. And we have students in prestigious posts such as head of projects and funds with Plan International, the country director with the British Red Cross, the executive director of the network of Ethiopian women's associations, and so on. And a number of our graduates have also gone on to do doctoral studies, either at NUI Galway or at University of Galway or at other universities. So this is just a couple of graduate testimonies. Dr. Mary McGill, who delivers some of our lectures and will be lecturing on the Feminist and Gender Theorizing module next year. She was once one of our students in the MA program, and she talks about the way that completing the MA has been invaluable to me in so many ways, both professionally and personally and as an activist. Most of all, it has given me the intellectual and practical skills that have enabled me as an academic and journalist to work on issues I feel passionate about and to bring those issues and ideas to a broad audience. And Chloe, who we see in the picture here on the far right, at least from my looking at it, she works now as a senior program coordinator at the Clinton Health Access Initiative. And she says that the graduate program was instrumental in equipping me with sector-specific knowledge, developing an expertise in gender, and providing the right tools to succeed in my career. So I think overall what we see is that the feedback we get from students is that undertaking this MA is often a very transformational experience, that students come into this program because they have a real interest in gender equality and gender issues. And in the program and through the learning that happens here, they're able to develop the kinds of skills they need to put that passion into practice and to make a practical difference in the world in which we live.